You felt it again last night, didn't you? That chill, that stillness that wasn't really still. You looked around. Nothing moved, no sound, and yet you knew someone or something was there, watching, waiting. Virgo, I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to confirm what you already know but couldn't admit out loud. Something has been with you. And no, it's not just a feeling. It's intelligence, energy, presence. They've been leaving you signs, the song that hits too hard, the object that moved without reason, the dream that won't stop looping. This message is your mirror. And the moment you hear what I'm about to say, you'll realize it was never your imagination. It was communication. So here's the deal. If a word, a symbol, or even just a feeling has been haunting you this week, comment the very first letter that just popped into your mind. Don't edit. Don't doubt it. That's where this story begins. Here's the problem. Your mind is trained to ignore what your soul screams. You crave proof. But these signs don't come with receipts. They come with chills, with timing, with tension you can't explain. And now, they're escalating, because something or someone is about to appear. A person, a message, an invitation. It's coming. The only question is, will you recognize it when it does, Virgo? You've always had a keen eye for the things others overlook: patterns, timing, micro changes in your environment. But lately, have you noticed those subtle shifts have taken on a new kind of intensity? It's not just intuition anymore. It's energy. Someone or something is trying to get your attention. And not in a metaphorical sense. We're talking about actual, observable signs that a presence is walking with you. Maybe it started with the lights flickering in your room just as a deep thought crossed your mind, or your phone buzzing with a random notification only to reveal a message that spoke directly to your current situation. These aren't accidents, Virgo. They're coded nudges from the realm beyond the veil, and you're not imagining it. Let's break it down. Have you ever returned to a room to find something out of place but you're sure no one else touched it? Or maybe you've had a dream so vivid it clung to you like fog the entire day. Some Virgos have even reported hearing their name whispered when no one else was around, or feeling a sudden breeze inside a sealed room. If any of that feels familiar, you're already connected. You just didn't have the vocabulary to describe it yet. The beings reaching out to you aren't random. They've been watching, waiting for the right moment to intervene, and that moment is now. But who are they? Let's start with your ancestors. We're not just talking about names in a family tree. These are the souls who carried you in their dreams, who sacrificed for the lineage, who passed down more than just DNA. They passed down memory, purpose, spiritual obligation. When an ancestor chooses to stand beside you, it's because they see a pattern repeating or a chance to break it. Then, there are the guardian spirits, entities of light assigned to you since birth. They aren't here to control you, but to redirect, to block harm you can't yet see, and to amplify your gifts when the time is right. Sometimes, you'll feel a warmth at your back when you're alone, or a tingling in your chest when you're about to make a life-altering decision. That's them gently steering you. Let's not forget the guides, beings that often arrive from your past lives. These are the spirits of healers, sages, or companions from other timelines who've chosen to walk with you again. They know your soul contract. They recognize your hesitations. They understand your stubborn loyalty and your sacred doubt. They were there when you fell in past versions of yourself, and they're here now to make sure you rise. Why now? Because you, Virgo, are standing at a portal. Your practical nature and relentless logic have served you well, but they've also blocked you from fully hearing these signals. Until now, imagine this. You're walking through your house and suddenly, out of nowhere, a picture frame falls. Nothing touched it. No wind, no vibration, and it's not even broken. When you pick it up, it's a photo of someone you haven't thought about in years. That's not coincidence. That's message delivery in its rawest form. Here's another you're driving, stuck in thought, asking the universe for a sign. The car in front of you has a license plate with your birth date, or a billboard flashes a single word that strikes you so hard you pull over in tears. These things are real. They're synchronized, and they're designed to activate your attention. Virgos have a gift and a challenge. You analyze before you accept. That's great when dealing with people, but not so great when the messages come in a form you can't explain with logic. That's why so many signs had to repeat themselves lately. Because your protectors know it takes you a while to trust what you feel over what you can prove. You might ask, why me? Why would ancestors, guides, guardians pick me? Because you listen. Because even when you resist, you feel deeply. Because you are built to serve, but now you're being asked to receive. It's your season to become the student again, to learn the language of subtlety, to translate what's invisible into choices that reshape your visible world. Here's the beauty of it all. You don't have to become a mystic overnight. Just start noticing. Keep a journal. Track what shows up 3 times. Write down dreams. Mark how you feel when you meet someone new. These patterns are your map. They're how the spiritual realm makes sense to your Virgo mind. And no, you're not crazy. You're chosen. You're watched. And most importantly, you're supported in ways your logical mind can't yet fathom. So next time something small and strange happens, don't brush it off. Pause. Feel it. Ask who sent it. Because I promise you, Virgo, someone did. Sometimes the signs aren't visual, they're emotional. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with a sudden sense of urgency, or felt overwhelmed by a sadness that didn't belong to you? That's energetic imprinting. It happens when a spirit guide or ancestral presence is trying to push through a layer of your emotional awareness. They'll use sensation, temperature shifts, even emotional mirroring to get your attention. One Virgo woman shared that every time she tried to sign a new contract with a certain person, her bedroom mirror would fog, despite no heat or steam in the room. She thought it was humidity, until one day, the fogged mirror showed the word "no" traced across it. When she finally backed away from that partnership, she discovered months later the person was under legal investigation. That's not fear-mongering. That's protection in action. Or consider this. You're walking through a bookstore and feel inexplicably drawn to a shelf you'd never browse. Your hand reaches out almost involuntarily and lands on a book that holds the answer to a question you didn't even know you were asking. When this happens, don't question it. Follow it. These impulses are alignment in motion. Virgos often need permission to believe in the unbelievable. So here's your permission slip. It's safe to explore what you cannot prove. You're not betraying your rational side, you're expanding it. You see, your ancestors don't expect blind belief. They know your skepticism is part of your brilliance. That's why they're so persistent. They'll knock louder, repeat signs, send multiple confirmations until you can't ignore it. Not because they're desperate, but because your path is too important to leave to chance. There's a phrase in spiritual communities: once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a message. Virgo, how many 3s have you had this month? Your challenge isn't whether you're spiritual enough, it's whether you're willing to slow down enough to notice. The universe isn't speaking louder, it's speaking more often. You're just now learning how to truly listen. And when you do, things change. You'll meet people who feel like you've known them lifetimes. You'll be offered opportunities you never applied for. You'll walk into spaces and feel the energy before you even cross the threshold. That's spiritual fluency, and it's your native language. Virgo, you weren't built for chaos, but you were built for clarity. And now that you're being called to lead not just through doing, but through knowing, you'll need both your earthly logic and your divine alignment. So don't be afraid of the signs. Be afraid of ignoring them. Virgo, let's be real. You've made it through a lot: storms, heartbreaks, disappointments, and days where you carried the weight of everyone else's problems like it was your job. And still, you showed up. You fixed what was broken. You made things work. But right now, something feels different, doesn't it? There's a pressure in the air that you can't explain. A heaviness behind your eyes even when everything seems fine on the surface. That's not just emotional fatigue, it's a spiritual alarm. So the question is, why now? Why are these signs, these presences, these energies showing up so loudly in your life all of a sudden? Because something's coming, and you need to be ready. I don't say that to scare you. I say it because it's true. These presences around you, they don't speak unless it's necessary. They don't interfere unless your path is about to reach a fork in the road. And Virgo, you're standing right at that fork. One path leads to more of the same routine: safety, predictability. The other leads to something completely new. Something aligned with the version of you that's been quietly evolving in the background for years. Your protectors see what you don't. They see a conversation coming that could change everything. They sense a decision forming in your subconscious that could reroute your entire future. Maybe it's a relationship you're holding on to out of comfort. Maybe it's a job that's draining your soul. Or maybe it's a limiting belief about yourself that was never true to begin with. Whatever it is, they're not going to let you stay asleep through it. That's why the signals have been so intense. And let's not pretend you haven't noticed. The dreams that wake you up at 3 a.m., the repeated numbers you brush off, the stranger who says something random, but it hits you like lightning. These aren't background noise. These are countdowns. You're being urged to pay attention, to realign, and to prepare for a moment that's closer than you think. But it goes deeper than that. These presences aren't just shouting warnings. They're also trying to awaken something in you, something ancient, something powerful, something that has been dormant for too long. Your spiritual abilities, your intuitive knowing, your energetic awareness. Virgo, you've always had a connection to the unseen. You walk into rooms and feel the tension before anyone speaks. You know when someone's lying, even if their words are perfect. You dream in symbols. You overthink. Yes, but that's only because your mind is constantly translating frequencies that others can't hear. You've been receiving data from the spiritual realm your entire life. You just didn't know how to process it. But now you're being invited to master it. You see, part of your soul contract wasn't just to help people through systems, logic, and support. It was to become a vessel, a translator, a bridge between the physical and the energetic. That's why you're being activated. Your protectors are heightening your sensitivity not to overwhelm you, but to train you. They want you to start noticing how your body reacts around certain people. That tightness in your chest, that sudden fatigue, that jolt of energy when someone walks into the room. That's your energy field speaking. You're being shown how to read vibration, not just words. And yes, that's a skill. Think of it like emotional radar. You'll start to pick up on emotional weather patterns in others' fear, sadness, joy, confusion. You'll sense them before they speak, and with time, you'll learn how to respond, not absorb. That's a big distinction. Respond, not absorb. Because right now, Virgo, you've been taking on too much of what's not yours, and your spirit guides are stepping in to say enough. They're teaching you energetic boundaries, how to clear your field at the end of the day, how to protect your peace when someone near you is in chaos, how to return emotions that don't belong to you. These aren't just self-care rituals. These are survival tools for the kind of path you're stepping into. You weren't meant to just survive this next chapter. You were meant to lead it. Imagine this. You walk into a meeting and feel instantly that something's off. Instead of second-guessing yourself, you trust it. You ask the right questions. You shift the direction of the room. You save time, money, or even someone's dignity, all because you listened to what your energy was saying. That's leadership through intuition. And it's your future. Or imagine you meet someone, and every part of you screams, not this one. Before, you might have ignored it, rationalized it, tried to fix them, but not anymore. Now, you walk away with peace, not guilt. That's protection in real time. This is the life you're being prepared for, one where your insight isn't a burden, it's your compass. And the best part, you're not alone in learning this. The presence with you is guiding each step. They'll send confirmations, align synchronicities. They'll light the way when you ask them to. So ask for a sign, ask for clarity, ask for strength, and then watch what unfolds. Because once you step into this version of you, the Virgo who sees, senses, and responds without apology, there's no going back. You were never meant to blend in, Virgo. You were meant to notice what others miss. And now, it's time to use that gift. Let me tell you about a Virgo man who ignored the signs. He kept waking at 2:22 every morning, kept feeling pulled to an old journal he hadn't opened in years. One day, that journal fell off the shelf by itself and landed open on a page from 5 years ago, a page where he wrote a vision that never came true. That same week, he was offered a project that echoed that exact vision. He turned it down, afraid to try again. Months later, the person who took that opportunity became a public success. That's not to say he failed, but it shows how subtle the nudge was and how crucial it was to trust it. The truth is, your guides can only do so much. They're not here to force, they're here to invite. They lay out breadcrumbs. They align clues. But it's you, Virgo, who has to take the step. You have to believe that maybe, just maybe, you're not making it all up. That maybe the timing isn't coincidence. That maybe the song that keeps playing is more than a melody. It's a message. What would change if you stopped needing everything to be proven before you followed your gut? What kind of life would unfold if you trusted your knowing the same way you trust your logic? This is the version of Virgo that changes everything, not because you became someone else, but because you finally became all of who you already were. So take the next signal seriously. Whether it's a dream, a word, a stranger's glance, or a deep ache in your chest, you're not being dramatic. You're being directed. Now go where you're being led, and don't look back, Virgo. Over the next 7 days, don't just go through the motions, go through them with your senses turned all the way up. Because the signs you've been getting, they're about to get louder, stronger, unmissable. You might get an unexpected call from someone you haven't heard from in years. Or you'll hear a sentence in a podcast that echoes a thought you had just hours earlier. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations. Watch for the quiet moments. When a song comes on and your whole body reacts. Or when a child says something that hits deeper than they should be capable of knowing, those are sacred clues. The universe is trying to get a message across in a way your spirit can absorb before your mind tries to explain it away. Even animals around you may behave differently. A cat that stares at the wall. A bird that lands beside you and doesn't move. A dog that won't leave your side all day. These are energetic messengers. And Virgo, your job is to receive, not dismiss. Here's the thing, the most powerful sign won't come with flashing lights. It'll feel casual, natural, like a moment you could easily overlook. But if you've done the inner work, cleared the clutter, tuned your awareness, you'll catch it. It might come as a passing opportunity, a simple invite, or a strange coincidence. But you'll feel something shift. Your body will know. So how do you make sure you don't miss it? You start building your communication line now. Create space, both physically and energetically. This could look like 5 minutes of silence in the morning, lighting a candle and sitting with your hand over your chest, writing a single question in your journal before bed. The form doesn't matter. The intention does. Talk to your protectors. Out loud if you have to. Tell them what you need help with. Ask for a yes or no confirmation through a specific sign, and then let go. The more playful and open you become with the process, the faster and clearer their responses will be. This is not about rituals or rules. This is about relationship. You're not praying to be saved. You're partnering to co-create. That's the energy shift. That's how you move from feeling confused by the signs to becoming a translator of them. You're not just learning how to notice. You're learning how to respond. That's the real magic. And Virgo, you're more ready than you think. One Virgo woman shared that during a week like this, she kept hearing a particular name everywhere on the radio, on a receipt, even graffitied on a bench. That same week, she got an email from someone with that name offering her a collaboration that ended up changing the course of her career. The signs didn't just come randomly, they came in patterns, because that's how spirit works. Another Virgo told us she asked for a very specific confirmation if she was on the right track. Let her see a white feather in an unexpected place. The next morning, walking into a corporate office downtown, there it was, one single feather sitting right on the seat she was about to take. Not outside, not in nature, but inside a boardroom. That's alignment. It's not always that dramatic. Sometimes the signal is a simple phrase you overhear that hits home, or a memory that suddenly floods you, reminding you of a promise you made to yourself years ago. Those are soul activations. They shake something loose inside you, and if you follow where it leads, you'll find the next step on your path. Virgo, you're not imagining it, you're evolving. And these signs, they're proof that someone's guiding your evolution from the other side. So tonight, before you fall asleep, try this: close your eyes and ask, what do I need to know right now? Then pay attention to the first feeling, image, or thought that comes. Don't analyze it. Don't dismiss it. Just hold it. That's how the conversation begins. Virgo, there comes a moment when all the whispers, the nudges, the repeating signs, they stop being mysterious and start becoming undeniable. That moment is now. You've reached the turning point. You're not being prepared anymore. You're being launched. This isn't just about feeling energy. It's about becoming it. It's about letting the wisdom that's been knocking on your door finally enter and light the way forward. For so long, you've been on the edge of this version of yourself, watching, waiting, doubting. But the moment you stop asking if this is real and start acting like it is, everything shifts. That's the climax. That's when the messages go from quiet suggestions to crystal clear guidance. You feel it in your chest. You hear it in your dreams. You sense it in your bones. It's like remembering something you didn't know you forgot. And what happens next? You stop second-guessing yourself. You start trusting what you feel before you explain it. You walk into a room and lead with presence, not performance. You speak and people listen, not because you're louder, but because your voice is now backed by something deeper. The clarity you've been begging for, it arrives, and it doesn't just answer your questions, it gives you new ones, better ones, the kind that change lives. But let's be honest, not everyone's going to understand this shift. Some people will say you've changed, and they'll be right. You have. And that's not a loss. That's a sign of evolution. Because the people who are meant to grow with you, they'll meet you where you are. The rest, they'll fall away. Not out of bitterness, but because their energy was tied to your older version. And you're not there anymore. That's what it means to awaken. That's what it means to say yes to the signs. So where do you go from here? You walk forward. You keep listening. You keep asking for signs. But more than that, you keep acting on them. That's how this becomes real. Not through belief, but through behavior. The universe meets you where you move. And you, Virgo, are finally in motion. So tonight, before you sleep, I want you to ask for a confirmation, a specific one. something you'll recognize. And then I want you to trust what shows up, whether it's a word, a symbol, a memory, or a chance encounter. Know this, it's not random, it's response. And when it comes, don't forget to acknowledge it. Thank the guides. Thank the presence. Thank yourself for paying attention. That's how you strengthen the connection. That's how you go deeper. That's how this becomes not just a phase, but a partnership. If this message found you at the exact time you needed it, you already know what to do next. Leave a comment with the first sign that made you feel seen this week. Was it a number, a name, a moment? Share it. Your story might be the very confirmation another Virgo needs to step into their next chapter. You are not alone. You never were. And now that you know that you'll never move the same again. One Virgo shared that the moment she said out loud, "I'm ready to receive," her phone rang within minute. It was a mentor she hadn't spoken to in months, inviting her to a retreat that ended up reshaping her entire outlook. Another kept seeing the same butterfly every morning on her windowsill until she finally looked up what it meant. Transformation, rebirth. She cried because she knew the message was for her. These aren't rare moments. They're real, they're available, and they increase the more you acknowledge them. That's the key. Don't just look for the magic, honor it when it arrives. Your guides, your ancestors, the loving forces around you, they've been waiting for you to say yes, not to the unknown, but to yourself, to who you were before the world told you to shrink, to who you were before fear made you settle. This is your reminder that you're already equipped, already worthy, already chosen. So take a deep breath, smile, even if it's small, and remember, your next miracle might already be on the way. You just have to be awake enough to see it.